Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Adult Onset Horsemanship. I'm your host, Daniel Dolphin. We're very privileged today to have an international guest. Mr. Denis Stefan is born and resides in Romania. He has been an actor for more than 20 years. He started out on a Romanian drama series in 2001, but got his big break in The Comeback of Pacala, a comedy about a much-loved Romanian character who's like a hillbilly prankster, Robin Hood type. And knowing Dennis, I could absolutely see him playing a role like that. He was introduced in that movie to horses and stunt riding, and his life has never been the same since. He has only grown and learned from there. In the U.S., he has been Andy Garcia's stunt double and was even killed by Kevin Costner in the Hatfields and the McCoys. He's been sponsored by Dennis Moreland with his horsemanship practices, and he is the horseback archery representative in Romania for Kassia and much more. Dennis, how are you doing today?
Hi, very nice to see you. It's a privilege to be invited by you because I like you already knew and know. I respect you very much because you are doing such a wonderful job and showing people all these horsemanship tips. And I saw your videos and we connect right away on the Facebook, and that's how we met. And we exchange ideas and stuff. So that's why I'm glad, because we are on the same path regarding training horses and stuff. And I'm really happy that you had invited me to do this podcast.
Well, the same. I'm tickled to have you here. Getting to know you over the years. You seem like a really cool guy, and he was even gracious enough. I offered to do the podcast in Romanian, but he said, no, my English is probably better than your Romanian. So, so very
yeah.
Yeah.
This is something, yeah.
Well, we always start out the podcast with the lightning round questions, and these are 4 points. So try to do your best, okay? What is your favorite way to relax?
So I can say right now in a quiet place, because I have 2 kids, smoking a cigar and drink some whiskey or cognac.
Okay. I have not had very much cognac, but I definitely like the cigar and whiskey thing. That's absolutely. What kind of whiskey do you like? Do y'all have Scotch there, or is it a different type?
We have all kinds. We have from Jim Beam and Jack, and we have Scotland, single malts, whatever. I usually, if you want to know, I usually likes the Seven Island type single malts. Seven Island, Instraliska, Talisker, that kind of Lagavulin, this type of whiskeys. And I think they have something interesting. And I also like bourbon, but I'm really in doubt if Jack Daniels that they sell in Romania is really, in all the places, really original. So,
Well, I have to say Lagavulin is absolutely my favorite whiskey that I have ever tried. I like the Isla Scotches. The smokier, the better. Although I have to say, like Ardbeg, have you had any of the Ardbegs?
Yes.
They're a little too much like kerosene for me. I start to enjoy them about the 3rd or 4th sip, but that first sip or 2 is a little rough every time,
I was working with a Scots actor in 2015 in Bulgaria for History Channel, and he introduced me to this type of whiskey, to Lagavulin and some others from the islands. And he was 70 years old then. He actually said that his wife doesn't like it. So it's like medicine. You drink some medicine. Yes, I drink some medicine. So this is from a really Scots guy.
Yeah. Are you a morning or an evening person?
Usually I'm an evening person, but depends from what perspective. So I'm more intellectually active in the evening, and I'm more physically active in the morning. So depends of the activity. I like to do sports or working horses or whatever in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where it hits me, I want to sleep, or I want to work some artistical, or to watch a movie, to read a book in the evening.
Okay. What is your favorite color of horse?
Well, this is an interesting question, no? What they say, there is no better color of horse, but if I want to choose, when I bought my first horse, I wanted to be white, because I like the white horses and Andalusians and whatever. From the movies, you saw all the majestic horses that they are white. And one of my friends who were stuntman, he said, if you buy the white horse, you will stay all day instead of training, just cleaning. So don't do this. So I bought a brown one. So how you called in American?
I think bay.
Bay.
Yeah, the horse I see.
Dark bay.
Dark bay.
Dark
yes,
bay. Yeah. So both of my horses, they are dark bay.
So I asked that a little differently of you than most people. Usually I say bay or sorrel, but I know in some European countries what they refer to as sorrel is different than what we refer to as sorrel in the U.S. So
yeah, mine are dark brown. Let's say dark brown.
Yeah.
So
okay. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No. That's an easy one.
Do you have a pet peeve? And I don't know if that translates or not, but that's sort of something that annoys you that you just can't tolerate whenever you see this over and over and over. It just bothers you.
Oh, I don't know. It's like it, because we are on this theme of horses, I will think something like something when I see a very good horse and some very bad rider or bad trainer doing the same thing again with that horse and expecting different results,
Yeah.
The theory of stupidity, that annoys me, because you pay a lot of money for that horse. Your parents, if you are a teenager, gave you $20,000 or $25,000 in Europe, and and you just make fun of this horse because or your trainer doesn't know how to put you in the position to appreciate the value of this horse, So that's why I didn't sold my horses, even if I really did, and sometimes still do financial problems, and I didn't sold my horses because I could not care to see someone riding these horses in a stupid manner.
I can certainly understand that for sure.
Yeah.
We kind of already talked about this, but do you have a favorite beverage, a favorite drink?
So, yeah, but it's a different answer. The answer is wine.
Okay.
Yeah, so more or less, the wine covers all this type of fun activity around the house, let's say. Because the whiskey or the cognac belongs to the cigar, but the wine, you can drink it at the table, you can drink with some friends and not being alone. It's more social, let's say.
Yeah.
But that depends of the, your life, let's say, because in America, social is even whiskey, you drink whiskey with some guy in the bar, but in Romania is mostly wine or beer, actually. You are not really do this type of things, go to the bar and drink some whiskey. No, you drink some beer with the guy, or you stay at the table and you drink a bottle of 2 or 3, whatever, the wine. No.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think of whiskey as more of a solitary beverage too,
Yeah.
Or a more intimate, maybe 2 or 3 really good friends around a campfire or something like that, or just with your wife in the evening or something. But
exactly, to get the stress away,
yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm in a social situation drinking whiskey, that probably means I wish I was alone. But
yeah.
I'm having to deal with all these people.
Yeah. Because it's a interesting thing that if you drink the wine, you can pour more in the people's glasses and to say salute, cent'anni, so with whiskey, if you drink more, you look like an alcoholic,
Yeah.
So it's not.
You want to fight everybody in the bar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
would you tell us something unexpected about you?
Unexpected. So, yeah, I can be. I'm amazed how my life is turned out so far. So if you if you turn back time, let's say 15 years ago, I already rode. So I was riding horses and stuff. I was doing stunts on the horse. So that's not about this. But if you will ask me 15 years ago, if I'm gonna do something like training horses and making this a living, because I'm 11 years now in this type of business, I will say no. I mean, I didn't know how this came to be a business or not a business, because you can be a billionaire, you can be a millionaire in the horses business if you are before a billionaire, so but the life, it has the way to put me in that position. I mean, I was losing a big contract in acting in 2012, and I was having 6 months doing free time, so I was already doing stuff with the horses and doing some demos with horseback archery and stuff, but I didn't thought about training horses. And that hit me in that moment, when you are alone, when you are in the stress situation, when you turn to what it's more close to you, and you turn to what it's supposed to be a good idea. And it was a good idea for me. I mean, it changed me as a person, because the horses changed me as a person. So I'm not the same person I was 15 years ago.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If this is one, I don't know if it'll translate correctly, but if you could choose any superpower, if you could choose any superpower, what superpower would you choose?
That's easy. Talking to the animals.
Ah, you're the first person
Yeah.
that said that. I like that one. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I last year I was launching in Romania a movie called Michael the Brave. That was a drama. That was some type of documentary slash movie. Those type of History Channel things movies that you saw with acting, and historian tells the story about some ruler. So this one, Michael the Brave, was maybe the greatest Romanian ruler that was the first to reunite all the countries that we are speaking Romanians in all these countries, and they were separated by Turkish and Hungarians and whatever. They took some part of the countries, and he was the first one who bring it back in 1600s. So a very long time ago. So I mean, this Michael the Brave. So it was I was releasing the movie last year. So it's interesting because he actually had some historians telling about his life, that he had two, I don't know how to say in English, not reindeer, the other type of the
like elk, stag, red stag, like
stag. Yeah,
that would be elk.
So two stags that were white. So the stags were white, and it was a genetically impossibility, to have two white stags. So the stags were behaving like dogs and stayed at his tent, and he will use them to fight with them in the battle. So nobody could explain how he can train the stags. He find the stags sometime in the forest, and he bring the stags back. So it's a real story, but nobody could explain how he did it. So everybody thought that he had some way to talk to the animals, to understand the animals, because the stags could not really be, you don't see too many circus stags doing something, so that was something very interesting to me. I knew this type of story long before I was playing Michael the Brave. So when I was playing him, I was thinking about his personality as a human, because he really lived, he really did these things. So that was a cool thing to have, to talk to the animals, not only horses, of course.
Again, I don't know how this one will translate, but I ask everybody thoughts or feelings. So do you feel yourself more of a thinking, cerebral type of a person, or more of an emotional, intuitive type of a person?
So that is not a really tough question, but it's a interesting question, because I'm mostly a reflexive person. So I don't know how it translates, but I'm thinking what from the perspective of what I did, and I split the hair in four, Sometimes I think too much of the things that I did in the past. If I did it like this, maybe it's better, like it was better like this or whatever. That translates to everything in my life. That's how I am. And usually I think a lot, but everything that was good in my life was because I was making I was choosing with my heart, with my intuition. So for me, even if I'm like this, it's better to have more the feminine side, the intuition side on my side.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Are you more decisive or indecisive?
Depends how much these things relates to the other question. Depends how much I like and what's the stake, because if I like too much of an activity, whatever, like when I saw my teacher Lajos Kassai on a YouTube channel, in a few days I was driving to Hungary to meet him. I mean, if I like something, I will make my So if I'm not really like some project, maybe I'm like staying and thinking is better this, but maybe it's better that. So I have to really get into it, to really be into something, and that's it. That it's most important for me.
Sure. Do you have a favorite piece of tack or horse related tool?
Well, from the perspective of movies and from the perspective of training different horses, I have to say the Pelham is the most, let's say, has the most advantages. Okay. Because you can use it, as you know, on the young horses like a snaffle. You can use it on the older horses or more trainable horses in next level in the curb bit, let's say. And it's a very useful tool in the movies, because in the movies the expectations of the director changes from one place to the other and 1 minute to the other, and sometimes you have to change horses, and sometimes you have to and sometimes you cannot change the beat. So if you have the Pelham, you can put the reins up or down and change the horse.
Absolutely.
So this I think is my favorite tool. But my favorite American tool, let's say, and that tool influenced me the most regarding natural horsemanship and the California way and everything that I experimented from 2012, 2011, actually. It's the Bosal. So the Bosal is not so used in Romania. I'm let's say one of the few people who use it or know how to use it in order to do the things that it was supposed to do. So, but I like this type of tool. I mean, I think it's more romantic in a way and more traditional in a way, and of course you cannot use it for all the stuff that I do. So but it remains one of my favorites, let's say, from American perspective.
Sure. It's a very, very useful tool for sure. I can't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book or movie?
Well, I have a bunch of favorite books or movies, but
you can name a few. I know it's often, especially for people that are that are into books, it's very, very hard to pick one. So you can give us several. That's fine.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of to say maybe I don't know if it translates in American in English The Illusions by Sebastian Bach. I think it was called The Illusions. So it's a book. I don't know if it was released in America. It's a book about some kind of, let's say, the illusions that we are dealing in life, you know. So it's interesting because the story it is happening in America. It's on the fields that some pilots rent their plane to to entertain kids, in the rural America,
Yeah.
Arkansas, whatever,
We
Alabama, I don't know.
Yeah, we called them barnstormers.
Yeah, so you know what. So on short, the book, it's about Jesus Christ. So, or a guy that he said, I'm Jesus Christ. And another pilot that tells the story of this pilot who said he was Jesus Christ, and all the things that happen, like, interesting things and revelations for the second guy, for the regular pilot. And he had a book all the time, and he said, okay, I give you this book, and every time you open the book, you'll find the answer, the right answer. And he was, all the time have a conundrum and open the book and did find something like in Buddha quotes or whatever, But at the last time, after the pilot who said he was Jesus Christ died, because he was shot by a maniac or whatever, in religious maniac or whatever. So he opened the book, and it says like something like everything it's an illusion. Everything that you experienced by now. So it's a very interesting book, and I will not tell you how it ends. It doesn't end like this. It ends with something else. So it says a lot about like the Bible says, that everything in the end doesn't count that much, but love, because you're dust. So this is one of one of my favorite books, and a long time ago. And one of my recent books that I read, it was Matthew McConaughey, Green Lights. So that is, I understood, a bestseller in United States now.
I'm sure it is. Yes.
Yeah. So this is interesting because how the actor, Texan actor, tells about his life, and it's interesting even if you are not an actor. It's like a motivational book or something. Yeah.
He's definitely made an interesting life, so for sure. So yeah. Let me ask you this:
the movies for what I'm. I was growing up with the movies like, from the Robert De Niro type movies, Al Pacino type movies, so The Godfather and all these type movies. So I can say I can relate mostly of this type of the movies, and to name one, maybe Godfather 1 and 2, and maybe Scent of a Woman.
Okay.
So they had,
all good choices.
So, yeah, I like that one.
Al Pacino is not the kind of guy you would want to be the father of a girl you were trying to date, right? I mean, that's not the dad you want to have to deal with.
The father-in-law.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Let me ask you this. When you said Sebastian Bach, I was thinking of the composer. So is that a relatively common name in Europe? Is that like a John Smith here in the United States?
I don't know. From what I remember, this is the name of the writer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the name of the writer. I know what you're saying. It is a composer too, but I think maybe it is not the real name. I don't know if the real name of the writer is this, but from what I knew, it said Sebastian Bach or John Sebastian Bach. I don't know.
Yeah.
But of course, if somebody wants to read it, they can find it on Google for sure, because it is like I was reading this 30 years ago. So in 94, 95. So it should be in that time.
Yeah. I like those kind of books that are they're interesting enough they get in your head that years later you're still thinking about the plot of it. Every once in a while it comes back around. I actually reread books very often. If I thought they were pretty good, I'll read them again 2 or 3 years later, and you get new things from them and all. So
I do too, and there are some books that I was reading from time to time, and the work of Shakespeare, actually, I have it in my library, and I will take it back and read some, like some people read Bible and stuff, I mean, you can find in really good books, you can find things that you can relate to in that time of what, the life is like a river. So
absolutely.
Sometimes you are on the same shore, so.
Sweet, salty, or spicy? What's your food preference?
Spicy.
All right.
But not Indian food. Spicy, but not Indian food. More be your food, like your thing. I saw some of the recipes that you put on the Facebook.
I like to cook quite a bit.
So more like this food. Yeah. Good. Spicy meat.
Since I have a Romanian, what type of food is Romanian food? What would be some typical dishes that y'all would eat?
So if we gonna think about short answer, I will give you a short answer. We are in the middle of, or at the conjunction of many traditions. So we have the Western tradition that is more German, food more German, and with sweet and sour and some jam on the meat. So it's Hungarian or German type of meat or dish. We have some Russians and and we have some Turkish, some Ottoman Empire, dishes that were, during the years were transformed by our taste. And now what is considered traditional in Romania, it's called sarmale. Sarmale, it's a dish like from minced meat. So it's meat with rice and some other things, spices and everything, that it's covered in either wine leaves,
grape leaves,
so or sauerkraut, sauerkraut leaves. Mm-hmm. So depends of the place. Mostly sauerkraut leaves. So it's very good dish. It's nice. It's usually more eatable in the colder times because I was already I'm but it's a very good dish. And it's consumed mostly with polenta, with the bread from the corn, the cornbread.
Yep.
So, and the other dish that it's many even Americans who came in Romania wants to try it. It's like a sausage, but it's without the cover of the sausage. It's only meat on the grill, but it's in the form of the sausage, and it's called smalls, because they are small, or mich. Mich is called in Romania, it's smalls. So they are usually made from the beef and not the pork. Now they are made from the pork and the beef, but in 50 years or 60 or 70 years ago, because they are from the Turkish translation, it's from mutton meat, or not pork, because they don't eat pork.
Yeah.
But the lamb, yes, the lamb. And but now usually we made it from beef and pork, or how you want, So those are one of two of the traditional things that you can eat in Romania and still live the second day.
I'll tell a little funny story here. My oldest son was dating a girl whose parents were in the oil business, and they lived in Kazakhstan, which I guess may be a little further from you than I'm thinking, but they lived there for 2 or 3 years, but they did not speak the language at all. And the father would go to the market to get groceries and stuff, and he was getting this ground meat, and they had been eating it for the whole time they had been there. And when he's at the market, like they're just 2 or 3 months from leaving at this point, so they've been eating this meat for 20 months, and he's standing there and he orders it, and the lady beside him speaks English, and she asks him why he's buying that, and he says, well, that's what I've been eating the whole time. And she tells him it's horse, that they were eating horse the whole time, thinking they had been eating beef. But he said it was good. He couldn't really tell a whole lot of difference, but I thought that was they were not expecting that, I guess I'll just say.
There is no funny for us that we are in the horse world, but the Italians eat a lot of horse salami, and the French eat a lot of horse salami. And one of the horses, my horse is one of the mares that I told you about sometime, and I can tell you the story of her, was supposed to be salami, and to be in Italy, in Napoli, and to be eating by the, So there are many countries who consume this type of. There is a healthy meat, because the horse is a healthy, animal, but I prefer pork.
Yeah. I think I could eat horse, but I couldn't eat my horse. I mean, I could eat some horse I've never met or dealt with. I don't think I would really have a problem with that, but
I don't know you. I can eat you. Yeah. So this is like, some jokes with the cannibals, the cannibals eat, if he already knew the person is my friend, I cannot eat it. So,
well, I have to say, as the world gets crazier and crazier, I have picked out, if it gets that bad, I know which horse we're eating first. So there is a list over here, right? But it's gonna have to get pretty bad before then.
Let's say let's hope that the world is not so crazy in the end. At least in our lifespan,
Yeah. Again, I don't know how this one will translate, but do you have a favorite dinosaur or deep sea creature?
Dinosaur.
Mhm.
Uh,
Once you get to be
I
an
don't.
adult, nobody asks you what your favorite dinosaur is anymore.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's just tragic.
That is the weirdest question I got from a long time, you know. But I will answer. I'm thinking, you know, the funniest I can say is T-Rex because has some tiny, you know.
So
But if
they have recently discovered those were wings.
yeah,
He had little bitty wings, is what it wasn't. The
you,
little
you know,
arms; those were wings.
yeah,
Yep.
you know, I saw a joke, but maybe it's not a joke. And we can tell that. I think we have time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how the paleontologist and the science comes up with this stuff that the dinosaur or covering the this type of skin, this type of elephant skin or whatever, you know, or reptile skin, you know. So they put some animal that they show them only on the bones level. You know, they are only bones. The skeleton remains, and they say, okay, this is a ancient animal. How it will look like in your perspective, and just a little. Okay. So how it look like in your perspective? And they put it like the same. They have like this, they have like this, they have you know, like a body armor, whatever, and they took it and the design was like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but smaller. And then they show the real animal. It was a small rabbit. You know, so don't trust the scientists.
Yeah.
So sometimes maybe it's better not to trust the scientists.
I have also heard recently that they found a larynx, the voice box of one of the dinosaurs intact, and they reverse engineered it with 3D printing machines to see what kind of sound it actually would make. And we think of dinosaurs as roaring, you know, in the movies, Jurassic Park and stuff. Yeah. It honked like a goose. And so, can you imagine a T-Rex running around and then honking like a goose?
Yeah, so. I can. I mean, maybe it was the last things that you will heard.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So it doesn't make much difference to me what the sound is makes if it's eating me, you know. So
yeah, you should sound tougher, but I'm still dead, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I have a choice on this one. I usually ask about UFOs, but I'm going to ask you, do you have a particular horse that you would choose to ride into battle if you had to ride into battle?
So I believe there are UFOs.
Okay. So this is about my 30th interview. That's about half and half. About half of the people believe they've had a UFO, including me. I have seen something that I certainly cannot explain in the sky. Now, whether it was aliens, I don't know. But anyway.
Well, I did seen when I was I was a boy, and I did see something that was interesting, but I don't know if it was a UFO or it was just you know, like cosmic sign or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of unexplained things that happen, and I don't think they are necessarily related to alien beings or something. I mean, from my perspective, if I'm gonna quote one of the wise men, that it's Omran Michael Ivanhoe. It's a Bulgarian scholar that lived till 1986, and it was he was living in France most of the time, and he was he has some books that it was they are very interesting. I don't know if they are published in America. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they are not published because of the he had some white fraternity, universal white fraternity method, and maybe that things will not translate good because of the white and the fraternity, whatever, the problems with the racial stuff. But he doesn't mean that. He means that the white is the sum of all the colors and everything, and it's a esoterical type of doesn't relate to the race or whatever. But he actually explained one of the things about the aliens, and his opinion was that there are no aliens. What we saw only the beings from another universes, from another type of energy dimensions, yes, and not only good one. Most they are not good ones, and maybe he was right. I'm not saying that he is right, but maybe he was right, because maybe more than 80 encounters with 80% of the encounters with the aliens was bad. You don't hear too much of the people say, "Oh, I met an alien and he gave me a whiskey." Yeah. All the time, abduction, something, radiation, whatever. So maybe he was on to something, because his idea was that we are on the planet, and our souls, they are like, this planet is some kind of purgatorium, or how you can say, to be more funny, it's like a prison with low maintenance, so for not so dangerous person now, so but it's still a prison for these souls that are not high enough to be in the better planets. So this was his take on the UFOs and aliens and encounters. I don't know if he's right or not, but seems like these things is not going anywhere. I mean, we are not seeing this alien, this Martians or whatever, people from Jupiter or stuff that comes and see something. And another thing that is interesting, our ancestors knew something about this. So it's like a picture on the wall of the cave. Many tens of thousands years ago. I don't know if you know about this one, but it's public. It's not something like the conspiracy theory or whatever. It's new for a long time, and I think it's in the Eric Daniken Memories from the Future book.
Yeah. Like the heads on Easter Island and the crystal skulls in South America.
Yeah. But this is more interesting. There are planets, all the solar system, with all the solar system that was not new to man even in 1900s. So, but they are there on the cave, and the Earth and the Jupiter were united by a line. So, Jupiter, Venus. Venus. Yeah, Venus planet, I think, if I'm not mistakenly. So, in those area that the cave was found, it was a legend that some people came from Venus and mate, of course, with the people from the Earth and make another race. So this, I mean, maybe it's true. Maybe the aliens came and did something, and we step up of the monkey business,
Yeah.
Maybe No, it depends.
We should all be admitting that we don't have all of the answers, and we should also admit that oftentimes the answers are not at all what we predicted them to be. So who knows, right?
More or less, yeah. It depends on what you feel inside. I mean, and some of the ideas are how another. It's only an opinion. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the courage to express your opinion, or if you have the the pride to say only my opinion, it's okay, it's right, that's not very good in the long term, let's say. Maybe in the short term, but in the long term, no.
Well, that's my last question on the short answer questions, and I can tell you without a doubt that's the most interesting feedback I've had on the short answer questions. So the ongoing joke is everybody that does them gets the new high score, and then I award them either an awkward silence or a genuine compliment. But you legitimately would have the highest score. That was a great fun. That would have been a whiskey campfire kind of a discussion for me right there. I mean, high praise. So would you like an awkward silence or a genuine compliment?
A genuine compliment, of course.
Okay. Well, I would say that, and I'm going to kind of envelop Europeans in this in general, because you share common characteristics, but all of the European friends that I have, including you, I find that y'all are brilliant. The level of critical thinking that it seems to me the average person there has definitely exceeds the level of critical thinking that the average American that I deal with has. And I can't comprehend how you can have this level of conversation in a language that's not your own. I speak a little Spanish and a little French and stuff, but there's no way I could have a conversation like this in either one of those languages. So the ability of y'all to do that is just absolutely paramount. And I really have to say, it's almost a tribalist thought, but just from the start of meeting you, I don't know if it's an energy thing, but like we just kind of connected and got along immediately. You have other people that you meet, and as soon as you meet them, within 5 seconds, you want to punch them in the face. You know, it's an oil and water kind of a thing. But you and I, I've thought you were a cool cat right from the start. So I do appreciate you doing the podcast, and I'm enjoying the conversation that we're having tremendously. Maybe one day we'll get to have a Lagavulin together and a cigar around a fire or something. So.
Yeah, you never know, because I was almost coming in America this spring with my movie with Michael the Brave, but I could not do it. Of course, there are objective reasons to that. But the movie even came with some with my colleague, one of the actress who plays my mother in the movie, and he did that. He did have lunch in Los Angeles, so I almost got there. So maybe sometimes I will
absolutely
get there. And it's interesting that you say that about the English and about the conversation. So I think it is a reason for that. So it is a reason because it's what you desire, what you find it mostly, important. So the English is pretty easy comparing to the other languages. So maybe it's more melodical than the other languages. I was supposed to do some for my movies, my TV movies. I was supposed to do some, promotion in other languages, because they were sold in some other parts of Europe. And I was supposed to do a phrase, more, less, whatever, but a phrase, few sentences in that languages. And some of the languages, I could not do it. I could not do it in Bulgarian. I could not do it in a type of Turkish or whatever. it's very hard in Czech language. It's very hard in Ukrainian language, Slavic language. For me, it's very hard to learn. So English is very easy to talk, to learn. To my daughter, my older daughter, learned English only from YouTube, and learn how to write and to read and to write alone, and to talk. She talks better than me with an accent and everything. so it's easy. That's why.
Okay. Well, is Romanian a Latin root language, or like I know certain English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, they all have Latin roots, so they have things in common. But I think like German is a totally different system. Russian or Cyrillic.
Yeah, mostly it's a Latin type language. So there are things that every historian now, there are different trends that they say we were Latin before the Romans came here and Latinized the country, because it was too easy, I mean, they stay like I don't know, they didn't occupy the whole Romania from today, and they stay maybe 100 years or so, more or less, depends of the part of the country, and we are all speaking Latin. So it's not possible, because they stay in England, and they are in Scotland or whatever, and they stay more, and some other parts of the world, and nobody speaks Latin. So there are some similarities in the language, and I can understand Italian people even if I don't speak Italian, but we have some Slavic words, and we have some Turkish words, and we have some Hungarian words, because we are at the conjunction of everything. But mostly, let's say we are Latin. Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, let's why don't we get to talking horses a little bit? So you got your start in horses on a movie set, if I got that correct, and you got into some stunt riding, and I guess also some weapons training and that sort of stuff, I'm guessing, in the movie. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I was preparing for my first main part in the feature film, in the movie for the big screen in 2004. It was filmed in 2004, and it was released in 2006. The comeback of Pacala, and it was a comedy. But in the comedy, because of this character who does a lot of stuff, it involves a little fighting and riding and all the stuff that. So I learned how to ride because of this movie, and I learned how to ride with stuntman. Usually when the actor, because I train afterwards, I train some actors myself, some colleagues of mine to ride. Usually you go there 2 or 3 times, and you just hop on the horse and you stay with the reins, like this or whatever, and say it's enough for you, because other things we will do with the stuntman. So I didn't do that. So I said, teach me this. Okay, let's do this. It is for free, because the production was, it is okay, teach me this and that. So for 1 year, after we finished shooting, I was staying with this stuntman, and they are all my, or most of them were young people in the 20s, and full of energy, and trying new things, not wearing the helmet and stuff, going riding in the woods, and come home with the horse or without the horse, So Actually, it was like a man thing, like if you're falling off the horse, you get laughed at and you have to give drinks and everything. So that was my first year of riding, and I remain friends with this stuntman. All the team. There are 5 or 6 guys that we are still in connection with each other, and they turned to be very good stuntmen, and 2 or 3 remain in the horse business and had this type of let's say vocation like I have with the horse training. So that was my first step in the horses business, and I saw that I can do more. So, for example, trick riding stuff, I was having 2 months free time between the projects, and usually in the summer. And I was talking to one of the stuntmen, and I said, "You have a trick riding saddle? Teach me how to trick ride. Maybe I will need in some of the movies," which I did. And it's true that sometimes your luck, it's you're doing your luck, you're making your luck.
Yep.
Because after I began how to trick ride on the horse, I can put this in some movie, and I said, okay, I can do this. And the director said, "You do this? You're not the stuntman." "No, I do this. I can do that and that." And so I think you have to search and to be as good as you can be and learn things when there is opportunity, because there are years, there are times that you will not be able to do this stuff. Maybe last year I can do trick riding. I don't know if 2 years from now I will be able to do. Maybe my back will hurt or whatever, but I know how to do it. I did it. It's like a memory. It's like from the list, from the bucket list, I did something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, women love scars too, right? So, I mean, what have you got to lose?
Yes, of course. Yeah. And I'm thinking like this: if I'm training horses and if I'm riding, I try to have all the skills that a rider can have if I'm athletically able to do it. So I was doing jumping with a horse. I was doing dressage. I was doing in the last years. I was doing this type of Western dressage. I was doing classical dressage. I was doing all this type of liberty work or natural horsemanship or whatever. I mean, I put my hands in everything that I can experiment and I can do with my mind or athletically. And I also with the weapons, as you said. So I began with the sword, of course, because every actor has some part that he needs to use the sword on foot and on the horse. And I actually did use the real swords on the horses. That's a funny story if you want to hear it. My first horse, he was just started. He was 4 years old. We usually start here the horses at around 4 years. We are not starting like quarter horses at 2. So the sport horses are longer in the feet, so it needs to to be 3.5, 4. But so I was starting for 3 months this horse, and I was going with him in a battle, in a movie battle already. So he was very young. and I was very, keen on doing stuff and showing people what I can do. So I was having a real big sword, a cavalry sword, a real one from the 1900s that I still have. So it was blunt, of course. We don't use real
Sharp.
Sharp, because everything in the movie must be security related. But even with a blunt one, you can get hit, and it's not a good thing. So one time I was going galloping with a horse and slashing some watermelons. It was a contest in the movie because I was playing a cavalry officer. So because I was keen in doing something perfect, I slashed one time when I passed by it, and I wanted to slash in the back with a sword from the front to the back, and I accidentally hit my horse, not like this, and he thought that I was doing this with a crop, and he wants to go farther and faster. He was a very fast horse. I mean, he was like fast that goes to the front of the horses, look for 2 seconds in the eye of the other horse, and goes, like a motorcycle. And I didn't do anything to them, to him. That was this kind of horse. So when he felt that sword on his back, on his flank, he go like a rabbit in the I was in the manege, because we are filming in the manege, of course, in the wall of the manege. And when I saw the wall, like approaching, and all my life was passing between through my eyes, I was doing like this, because you have to put the head down and the shoulder up. And I was doing that tsukahara, the gymnastic. Yeah. And with the sword in my hand, I was going over the wall and on my feet and then of course on my butt, because I wasn't prepared, but first on my feet, outside the manege. I didn't have anything, just a little scratch from, I don't know, maybe a wood from the wall. The horse, it's fine. My eye was fine. But 2 minutes before, some really big nails of iron was taken out from the place that I was going. So if they didn't took out those nails, those big iron nails, maybe I will not be talking to you right now. So. That was a funny but potentially dangerous situation.
For sure.
So, yeah.
That's where all the best stories come from, was surviving something like that, right?
yeah. There are a lot of stories. I mean, for example, if you want to know another story, movie story, with the same horse, I was playing Turkish general. That was shooting with bow, the Serdengesleri commander, they say in this movie, that it was September 11, 1683. It was the name of the movie, and the siege of Vienna, the place where the Turkish drawn back. And from that point on, the Ottoman Empire dissipated in a few hundred years. So that was the apex of the fight between the Christians and the Ottoman, and that was the point where they go down from the power. So it was an interesting movie, but it was something that happened to me and maybe some of you can relate it, that maybe it happened to you. My horse was supposed to just go galloping through through the field to have, let's say, open the battle, but it's no battle involved. It's just they doing the my shot of doing this with, of course, with 50 riders in the back of me, and I was in the front, and my horse was unstoppable. I mean, with two hands, I could not hold the horse, and I really got scared because maybe I will hit the cameraman or whatever, And in the last second, I have to pull the right rein and to do a detour, and that was my first take. And the second take, the same. I have to pull, and the horse was going mad from I don't know what. There's nothing involved. He knew all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to the lounge to lunch, taking a break, stay 1 hour for lunch and with the horse, and after that nothing happened I can do with the horse. The horse was fine, and nobody knew what it's all about, why the horse was mad at that moment. And one of the grooms come to me and whisper in my ear, I know what the horse was all about. Your farrier did hang himself in this moment. In the same moment that my horse was going mad, my farrier got suicide,
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't know where, in the woods. In the same time, my farrier, who I was working with my horse, hanged himself. So, talking about the energy and the things, and maybe it happened to you, some awkward things like that.
Yeah.
So that was one of the weirdest things that happened in the mind of the horses. Maybe it's not related, but is the only explanation that I could have, because otherwise it's just turn the page. The horse is fine.
Yeah. I like science. I like things that I can explain and that have, well defined, but I'm definitely open to things that we can't explain. Like I say, the other dimensions and things. I'm a big into physics and stuff.
Yeah,
and there's a good example that the physicists use about different dimensions, because in physics, we live in a 3-dimensional world, but a lot of the physics things that we use to understand the universe work in multiple dimensions. So it's believed that there could be up to 10, 11, 12 different dimensions. We're only familiar with 3 and 4, and fuzzy are on a 4th. So we have no idea what a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, dimensions look like. But if you were to look at a 2-dimensional world, a sheet of paper that has length and width, and you passed a sphere through it, that sphere would look like a point, and then a small circle, a larger circle, then a smaller circle, and down to a point again. And so your perception of it in your dimension is one thing, but the reality of it is something else. So definitely it could be common knowledge in 70 years how horses are connected to people like that, but it's something we just don't understand yet.
Yes, it's about perception, I think it was an American teacher that did the experiment with some plant that put some, I don't know if you hear about it. An American teacher that did some experiment with some plant that put some, like you put in the lying machine, how you say, this type of connections to...
Like, EKG type thing.
Yes, this type of things he put on some plant that has at home, and with the time he wrote everything that he did in that day, even if he wasn't at home. it was his plant. He was talking to her. It was, give water and everything. He was talking nice to her and everything. And at one time, he was at the college, at the university, I don't know where, in America, I think it was, and he cut the finger. And he noted, I cut my finger at 4:30. And he got home, and at 4:30, the needle was like this on the plant. So I don't know, maybe there are some energetical connection between us and the animals, as the plants, that we cannot explain. And if we cannot explain, we cannot use it, of course. That's why I want to talk to the animals.
Yeah. You might be scared at what you find out, though. It might not all be.
Yeah. Maybe the horse says, go away. We don't do training. We want eat. Just eat.
Oh, yeah. I heard of an experiment. I haven't researched this, but it was using plants, and they were talking badly to the plant, like using curse words and things, and talking down to one group of plants, and then talking in a very positive, uplifting manner to another group of plants, and supposedly those plants responded better while the negative talk ones were stunted and all, which makes no sense. And I don't know if it was legitimate, but it's an interesting thing to ponder anyway.
I heard you about, I heard in one of your videos, you said something very, very true. And because talking about the scientific experiments, you remember what you said. Maybe it's worth mentioning because it's stuck in my mind. And you said something like some of the experiments are so keen in doing or taking a conclusion that you set aside everything else. And of course, you come to this conclusion.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have, to have a very, very smart guy who does the experiment. And of course, somebody who's paying the experiment not to be involved in the outcome,
Yeah. There's a famous European primatologist, I think he's Dutch, named Frans de Waal. And that's one of the things that he talks about, is that a lot of researchers, especially in the animal fields, are doing research on animals that they don't understand. And thus they make mistakes that the people that understand the animal would look at the experiment and go, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why did you do it like that? And it's only because they don't understand the animal. But there is kind of a flip side to that, because those of us that understand the animal, we have that perception, that bias. And the people that don't come with a fresh, a blank slate, they don't have any bias, and so they may wind up discovering things that we would have assumed to never look at. Yes. So there's kind of a flip side.
Two flip side to the coin, of course. Yeah. But you have to know little about the psychology and the behavior of this animal to have let's say, to have a voice in this. For example, I was talking to some of the they don't keep animals in the circus anymore. Mostly, the wild ones and everything disappear and everything. I will not discuss that because that's another matter. But about the horses, they wanted in Romania to ban the horses in circus. And I was discussing to some guy who wants that, and he was from the welfare of some how to say not company, some volunteer. Yeah, so not like PETA or whatever, but close.
Yeah.
So he said, I saw something very bad in circus. What you saw? I saw some horses who were standing in two legs, and they obviously didn't like it. And I saw, I talked to him and said, you don't know about horses. this is the sexual response, the easiest trick to have on the horse, especially on the stallion. So I don't think he didn't like it. I think he was preparing for it, This is the easiest and the stupidest thing to do on an animal if you are not trained professional. So he could not comprehend why the horse were rearing in two legs, and he's thinking that is a bad thing for the horse. No, they are bad things for the horse, but not this. Mm-hmm. So we have to be aware of how people perceive this type of behavior in the animal. You have to know the animal and to know what is the behavior, the real behavior of the animal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not, and I saw something else on the YouTube with some dog who was supposedly crying. So the dog was like sneezing, but it's a dog trainer could tell you what is. So he was supposedly crying, but the dog wasn't crying. He's just doing something like this. It's like doing something else. Definitely,
Like
and all the people said, "Oh, poor dog is crying." No, you don't know dogs.
Yeah.
So,
I have people send me videos and things like that all the time of cases of abuse, and sometimes sometimes it's hard to watch, but a lot of times what's happening there is not what they think is happening there. Do you remember the pentathlon in the Tokyo Olympics 2 or 3 years ago?
I cannot say no.
There was a lady in the women's pentathlon. One of the events that they do is horse jumping in the stadium, yes. And her horse, her horse was refusing to go over the jumps, and so she's kicking him and putting the crop to him, and her trainer reaches over the fence and just pops the horse on the butt. About like that. And this
I remember something. Yeah.
And it became a worldwide controversy. I mean, people just absolutely lost their minds. And I was doing a different interview on pain in horses, and I thought of that incident, and I went back and I watched the video, and that lady, didn't hit. You would pat your horse to tell him good job about as hard as she hit him to send him forward. It was nowhere near a case of abuse, but the world just lost their minds over it. They were going to cancel the event from the Olympics and all kind of. There was an actor here in the United States that was offering to write a blank check, name your price, I'll buy the horse to save him from, and people just.
Yeah, I think the problem is not only what it's all about, and some of the people, the silent majority who knows all about, they are not so keen, or they are more busy, or they are not so keen in explaining all these things. Yeah. And some schmuck comes along and say, "Oh, you're killing the horse," or whatever, and there are things that they are very bad for the horses. And I had horses came to me because my specialization is mostly in starting horses, restarting horses, and problem horses, because I don't do training for the competition, European competition, or jumping and dressage. I'm doing this for the shows, or I'm doing what I did 4 years in a row with my horse in Austria for ranch riding and that Western type training. So I'm not doing this in Romania for horses that are very, very, let's say, very, very have a high price. Mostly the horses that came to me have normal price, or people bought to save them or whatever, So you can learn a lot from these horses, but you will find most peculiar things with the behavior of this type of horses, because they've been to some hands that, So one of the most most dangerous horse that I had. It was a mare that had no mother, and the people were milk feeding the mare all the time. By the time she was 3 years old, and she was 3 years old, and she was kicking with the butt, kicking with the front leg, and biting you. So I have to put the lasso on, the lariat on, to take the leg and to restrict her, to be able to put the halter on. So it was very bad. But this, because of real abuse of the people, this is abuse. This is from my perspective. Mm-hmm. And I tell you why. You know why, but I will tell you what happened to this horse. So that's why. So I told the owner, so if you don't give education to this horse will go bad, and that bad that it will go to the slaughterhouse, or to someone who will beat her every day, and it will be a very, very bad life for this horse. So the horse stays 6 months with me. She was roadable. You can go to the forest to road her to. No, she was almost a normal horse. And by the time she was going to another trainer, because of course things, they have to adopt her. They had no money to pay the training anymore, so the horse left. So I was saying to the owner, you have to be very careful who will give the education to this horse. And that happened. The horse returned to the habits, more of and now I think she is in the shelter house. She didn't go to the slaughterhouse, hopefully. But she's in the shelter house, and she don't do anything. She don't give anything to society anymore. She just spends, and because they didn't want to teach her from the day one, So there are thousands of stories like this.
Have you ever used like a donkey with a horse like that? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The half donkey, half horse.
No. So you take a donkey and you put a big collar around the donkey's neck, and you tie the horse's halter to the donkey. And then the donkey will teach the horse manners.
Yeah.
Things that the mother was supposed to do but didn't. And the donkey is so stubborn, it's going to win. And if you have a really, really bad one, like I had heard of a tale of a halter horse stallion here in the United States. So they look like bodybuilders. They're massive.
Yeah.
That got to be dangerous. So all they did was they put 2 donkeys on him. And even though he could beat one donkey, he couldn't beat 2. So he drinks when the donkeys want to drink. He eats when the donkeys want to eat. And he goes wherever the donkeys want to go. And after a couple of weeks of following the donkeys around, they kind of learn how to do business. But those donkeys will kick him, and they can avoid getting bitten and everything. They're ducking.
Yeah, because they are small.
Yeah,
under the belly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a good idea.
Let that donkey do the work for you.
I think the price of the donkeys in Romania will rise, will skyrocket after this.
So I have
it's a good idea.
I have a donkey here. I have not used him for that yet, but I call him Aston Martin. He's a high performance donkey.
So yeah, it's a very good idea. I heard about this, and I know a story about a donkey, a Romanian one, a real story. I will tell you shortly. So I have a friend who had a donkey and goes to the every day when he was in the village, in the parents' village, because now he stays in the town. goes to the forest to take some woods, and it's a pretty hard for the donkey to carry all these woods, So one day, it was summer. One day he goes with the donkey to gather some woods, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and the donkey just stopped at the end of the village when it was the path to the forest. Just stopped. And of course, he is not a training, he's not a horse trainer. Start to beat the donkey, to pull the donkey. Come on, let's go to work, my friend, And the donkey doesn't move. So he left the donkey there. He left the donkey because doesn't move, doesn't want to go home, doesn't move. He left the donkey in the summertime, in the dust because it was no pavement, it just dust, the earth, the path, it's full of dust. And he goes in when the sun is setting. Maybe the donkey is there. Who knew, The donkey was there. He stayed the whole day without just moving the feet. There is no the hoof mark. There is no hoof mark of the different. Just stays there.
Uh-huh.
Nothing, not moving the foot, not doing nothing. No, it's like a stone. And the sun was setting, and every time the sun is setting, you go back at the house from the forest or whatever, and you go home, of course. And he took the halter of the donkey, and the donkey comes home like nothing happened. He knew the sun is setting. It's time to go home. No more. So the donkey is smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ray Hunt had a saying that donkeys and mules are just like horses, only more so. And yeah. I think there's a lot to that. They just have sort of the same characteristics, but more deeply. So horses are easier to get along with.
Yeah, I have the Ray Hunt's book on my iPhone, and it is a very interesting book. I mean, this type of half horses, half donkey, and the donkey has so much analytical part developed because of maybe you breed some other animal and comes something better.
Mm-hmm.
Like American horses. So the story with the 15 horses left by Cortez in America, and from 15 horses just pile up and becomes 1 million horses in the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the inbreeding or because of this type of the breeding without people intervening, you had the Mustang.
Yep.
Which is, it is a very interesting type of horse.
Absolutely.
So sometimes if people don't intervene, it's better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about your mounted archery stuff? So I think that looks like a lot of fun. I've done some shooting off of a horse, and that's about the most fun you can have on a horse with your clothes on. So I can imagine archery is about the same way. So why don't you tell us a little bit how you got into that?
So so you're right. I was talking to my friends, the Stuntman, and we were at the beginning of this story of riding and stuff 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, and they said like me, I was feeling alive when I was riding the horse and I had a weapon in my hand. Maybe it is from ancestral times. I don't know. It's something that it's in our genetics as a human or whatever. But I was feeling, and I was riding better, you know. So how I get into that is very interesting because of what I felt. I was looking for learning.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. I figured your
Okay.
phone died or something. Okay.
No. Somebody called and I could not, I don't know.
Okay.
I could not. So later, if the phone died, I will put the thing in, and maybe will be not so much noise of the motor of the car because I have to charge the battery. Okay, sure. But now we are fine. So I was telling you about this mounted archery or horseback archery. I was doing, scroll on the YouTube to see how I can learn better than I already did experiment. So I saw Lajos Kassai. Lajos Kassai was Hungarian from what I saw, was a Hungarian archer. And what I saw from him, from that little movie, it touched so much with my heart. It was such an interesting thing and feeling that I could not describe because there are thousands of mounted archery movies on the internet, but I saw that one. I was looking for him, and I saw that he lives in Hungary. He's a master of horseback archery. He's a champion in his type of contest. So I saw, okay, let's go there. And I was traveling alone in my car. It's like 12-hour trip till his house, and I was knocking on the door. And he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want to bring this thing in Romania. First, you have to learn it." He said, "Yes, but I will learn it, no problem." He said, "Actor blood. You want to promote it before you knew it, So, yeah. And I said, "No, master. Okay, I want to learn it. How I can do that?" He said, "First, you have to pass a test. You have to pass a test that it will let's say, you have to demonstrate that I can teach you. I'll have to teach you, and you have to demonstrate that you're able to be taught." So, okay, let's do it. Today, you have to train for this. No, today. I can do it today. I stay 4 days in Hungary, so I can do it. So, okay, 2:00, you start the test. So the test was very interesting because mostly was a test that you have to be, athletically involved in it and able, but you have to be a certain type of person. So I'll tell you the test. It was 5 kilometers of running in some time, but you run down and up the hills, so it's pretty hard. Like a cross country, running. You have after that to stay 2 minutes without moving. Stay like military without moving. If you move just like this, you don't pass the test. And after that, you have to sing a song and to say a poem, whatever you want, in whatever language you want, doesn't matter. And after that, it is another test, like you jumping some barrels and you hit with the wooden sword some things, some targets. But those two things with singing a song and telling a poem tells him more about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was singing a national anthem, and I was doing the opening speech from Richard III because I was an actor, and I was in luck because his wife from that era, because now he has another wife, was an actress.
Okay.
And usually you have to say like this without moving everything. And she said, "Oh, let him move, let him play here." And I was doing this like an actor and not like just a soldier, So from that moment on, I started to train with him. For people that doesn't know
that test is just for him to decide if he's going to spend his time on you. That's not Pat.
Yeah.
That's just okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
So the interesting thing is, like, you go up at 7 o'clock in the morning. You go to him. He was, was alone there. He had no groom, no stable guy, no nothing. At 12 horses. So you go to the horses. You clean the horses. You clean the stalls. He had the horses put not in the boxes, but in the single stalls like this.
Yep.
And after that you set free the horses, and they can roam in the 15 hectares farm, so they can eat by their own, and they can drink he had a lake there, so it was pretty natural horsemanship, let's say. But you work side by side with him. After that you take the breakfast, and after that from 9 to 12 you train 3 hours with the horses, with the different type of exercises, of course. After that you eat, you have 3 hours break, and then you train till 8 in the night with him. So he was 53 at that time, and I was 34 or something, and he was doing the same training like I did with the horses, with the running. We used to go jogging and stuff for the blood vessels and everything for the this is like a preparing like for any sport,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for not have the jiggy hands or anything when you shoot. So I was going to him every 3 months, stay 1 week, and doing different tests. And it was very interesting because sometimes feel like more farm work than training, And I was thinking, I want to shoot more from the horse, to work more with the horses, just not this farm work, But I didn't say anything to him because, he's not he's not polite to say. And he needed help, of course. Yeah. But
be careful how you speak to people who are experts with weapons, right?
Yeah. But you know what he said? So we are running in one morning. We were running through from the house to clean the stalls, And I was like normal, I could not express something like something is hurting me or just it's too much work or whatever. No, just running with him, jogging for the horses, And he turns to me and he said, "I teach you how to build a family." And that hit me because at the end of these trainings, I knew and I know how to build everything from that facility. I can have what he has if I wanted to. I know the meters. I know the indoor arena, how I can build it. I know all the mechanical stuff, that because you have the targets with the mechanical things in it. So
yeah,
I teach you how to build a family. you're not like just working here. You find all this thing. So it was, some things with him, because some trains with him were like, he's been to Kamakura to train in archery also. He's been to Shaolin Monk to do some demos and to see some things. And he actually did incorporate some of the training, the breathing techniques and everything for the shooting, for the horseback archery. So it's interesting because some of the training with him, he didn't say anything. Some hours, you just do what he did. So, but you understood what he did, and it's like, the connection between you and the teacher that makes you do things. If you didn't experience it with some teacher in the life, you cannot explain it.
Yeah.
I did experience it, and it was pretty mind-blowing, let's say.
Yeah.
And sometimes just turn to me and speak for half an hour. Maybe, he speaks like he's reading my mind, it's in my mind, and he speaks and do this, you have problems, do this, you have this. He's a very interesting guy, and he is a pretty famous one. Besides the horseback archery, and he did some demos with Monty Roberts. Monty Roberts came to his farm a few years ago. Matt Damon, the actor, did training with him for the Great Wall, for the shooting, archery stuff. But it was interesting because Lajos, I think he really did teach this guy, made them teach the real stuff, and they put CGI on. He didn't shoot any arrow, like Orlando Bloom in the
Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings. They are only CGI. The funny thing is that he and some others who are teaching this type of shooting, fast shooting, can shoot like Legolas or Matt Damon in the movies. Real shoot with real arrows. So that is pretty funny, because I was doing a lot of, now I'm, let's say, not doing so much training with the bow and arrow because I don't have time. But when I was doing it every day, I can shoot one arrow at one in 1 second. Like this. So I was doing a movie called Herman the Apache. So it was for German television, and it was the real story of Herman, the boy who got kidnapped by the Apaches in the 1800s. Okay. I don't know if you know the story. It's a pretty famous story for Germans. And the story goes like this. The Herman, this boy, been abducted from an American farm by the Apaches, some tribe, and stayed with them till 18 or something. And they got back to him. The state, the American, can somehow get it back from the tribe. And it is a real sad story, because the boy could not handle it in the society. He's still hunting chickens with a bow and stuff. He didn't like the society in the 1800s. He likes the tribe, the Apache. So this is the story. But one of the funny thing is that the German director, it was a lady. She said, "Okay, you can shoot from the galloping horse." Yes, of course, yeah. So shoot a real arrow, please, in this wood, so I can have this type of shooting reel, not CGI, not anything. Okay, so start movie action. I shoot. I pass by the camera, and she said, "So, can you please shoot?" So said, "I already did. You see the arrow, but I could not have it on camera. Please look at the camera." So yes, you're right. You shoot so fast that the camera could not see it. So of course the camera see this, but the camera cannot see the arrow if you are too fast, you know. So I can shoot like slower than this, or you can put CGI. So a lot of things, interesting things you can learn if you feel your heart, because this, even if I don't do anything for horseback archery business, I'm not doing a school of horseback archery like he's done in America, because he has a school in Big Fork or something in Montana, or Austria, or some other parts of Europe. So even if I don't do this, from the spiritual, path, it's better for your soul. I mean, it's something with this weapon, the bow, that is very spiritual. I can explain it. I don't know. You have to feel it. It's different. Maybe like samurai said about the sword.
Yeah. When I was a teenager, I used to be big time into archery. I shot every single day, all year round for years. I don't need to be to be bragging here, but I got my dad very mad. I got so good I could hit my own arrows, which got to be very expensive. So
like Robin Hood.
Yeah, I did several of those. And so he made me start shoot. I could no longer shoot 2 arrows at the same target. I had to shoot at different targets, so I couldn't possibly hit my arrow again. But I could hit, little things out to 40 or 50 yards. Now that wasn't with an instinctive bow and arrow. I was going to ask you, like how accurate can you really be with those off of a horse?
It's interesting. He's very accurate. I didn't train as much to be that accurate as he is, or his apprentices that trains every day. But I was pretty accurate, like let's say from galloping horse from 20 meters, I can shoot this type of, the 10 centimeters. Yes, from 20 meters, no more. The contest is from 50 meters. So you start to shoot from 50 meters at the target, and the target goes, because you go in the straight line, and the target as the most is 9 meters from you at the closest. And then you shoot from the horse passes the target, and you shoot 50 meters with the back at the, in the back, the Persian shots, let's say. So if you train a lot, you can shoot even from 50 meters to go in the 90 centimeters target. That it's 90 centimeters. It's 4 points, 3 points, and 2 points, because they are arrows. They are circles,
concentric circles,
30 centimeter circles. Yeah, concentric circles. So, but the interesting thing is that you are not shooting like a rifle. You are shooting instinctively without the window on the bow. So you have to have the arrow on the hand.
Okay.
So you shoot with the arrow on the hand, and you're shooting with 3 fingers. So you pull the bow here, around here, depends what your let's say what your preference, but not here, not in the face. So and when you release the hand back, the the releasing hand, you release back like the Leonardo da Vinci, the drawing with the man who has the.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The arm in three positions.
So it's very, very like a cross. It's very interesting. Of course, in the contest, you don't have time to release all the hand. You have to be quick. But this is the discipline. So what I wanted to say to you, because of this, he is very accurate. And he told me that on time he put on the arrow to see how accurate can be, how he can be more accurate and shoot even better. So he put on the arrow a laser, like the laser pen that you do it on the cinema and stuff and annoying people or something. This type of laser, So it's not expensive laser. And he put this and he drew the bow and he stays like this to see where the laser is going. He didn't shoot the arrow, he just stayed like this to see where the laser is going on the target. So not one time in the 100 meters, the laser was on the target. And still, if he shoots the arrow, he goes in the middle. And he said, our brain, you don't know what the brain is doing and how wonderful is this type of, what we are as a person, as that we can hit and not one time can be in the middle. Absolutely. So this is...
It's just like a gun. You have to lead your target at all, only this time you're the thing that's moving.
Yeah. But the gun is faster.
Yeah.
The brain is calculating the arrow and the speed of the arrow and the velocity of the horse, and still you can shoot.
Well,
how?
And I've seen you've been... I don't know if it's Facebook or Instagram, but you've been doing some pistol training lately.
Yeah.
Too, huh? So I'm a big gun nut. I love shooting guns. I'm more of a revolver guy. I like to shoot long distances with revolvers. So I can hit a 41 Magnum. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Smith & Wesson that's my favorite, my personal revolver. I can hit an 8-inch plate at 100 yards. 5 out of 6 times with that revolver, with iron sights, no scopes or anything like that. That's my absolute love. But I do carry a semi-automatic pistol and have to train reloads and that kind of stuff. So I'm guessing you have a role upcoming where you're going to be doing some of that.
Yes, of course. Yeah. This is my way of doing things, that it's professional way. When I was playing, as I told you, I was playing that character. I learned how to ride. When I was playing the character that was a doctor, a medic, an ambulance guy, I was just learning how to do this, and I was going with the paramedics and doing the volunteer stuff nights and nights to see the real thing, to feel it. Even if you don't learn it, you feel you get that feeling, and you are more consistent in your work as an actor if you do this type of preparation. And now, of course, almost everybody is doing it, at least in the let's say in United States, let's say movie actors or whatever, they are doing this type of preparation. In Romania, not so much. They are not doing this type of things, and they are doing this type of preparation mostly already on the set. And sometimes that it's not good. You can see if somebody doesn't hold the pistol or hold the pistol like this, whatever, and So I want every character to be as accurate as I can be. And of course, the rest is work, and the rest is your talent that, And this movie involves a lot of shooting. So I was talking to a friend of mine who is an army. He's in the army, and he's been to special forces, and now he's semi-retired. But he told me, okay, I will present you to these guys and at the shooting range, and they will show you how to do it, and the rest it's you. I mean, you have to do the rest. You will not be John Wick in a week, but you can be John Wick in the movie after 2 or 3 months of training. So it will be enough. So I began to do this, and everything that you do can translate into your life. How you squeeze the trigger. If you are too impatient, if you squeeze too much, you don't hit the target. So that transcends in your life, in some decision that you make. So if you're like me and you are thinking about this, you are not doing just a sport or a preparation for a movie, but you're teaching yourself to be better, Absolutely. To be more conscious of you. Absolutely. So that's what I'm doing now, even more than I have to. I mean, I have to go 5 or 6 times, and now I'm going twice a week. So,
well, very cool. Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us? We've been going for a pretty good while here, but why don't you give us a little bit? You've acted with Andy Garcia and Kevin Costner, and I have to say, like, Kevin Costner really can ride a horse. There are some actors that aren't really all that good, but like Tom Selleck and Kevin Costner, I mean, they're legitimate horsemen. They really are. So what was that?
It's an interesting thing. There are some 2 stories. I will tell you just 2 stories that regarding those 2 guys that I had the honor of meeting and working with them. So I was in 2003 for Modigliani, that was shot in Romania, and was about the life of Modigliani, the painter, and was played by Andy Garcia. And they were looking for a person that resembles so much with Andy Garcia. He was 48 at the time, so my age now. So I was pretty the same type of face and everything, and they needed for some scenes that were more dangerous for him. Like if you are a movie star, you don't do this type of things. So I was playing, sometimes I was driving in the field a car, and I was playing him, and they shot me with this, with a camera, and I was driving with the character, the Picasso, the actor who played Picasso, and then I had to have an accident. He was falling off a bridge in the water and almost drowned himself, the Modigliani. And I had to do this because he will not stay in the water, So that was pretty interesting, because I was staying all day in the swimming suit, and after over the swimming suit I have the clothes on. The neoprene swimming suit keeps you floating, Uh-huh. So I had to stay drowning, let's say, in the water of a man-made lake in the center of Bucharest. Needless to say, the lake wasn't very clean, So I found out if I don't keep my mouth open and the water can enter a little bit in my mouth, I cannot stay on the with the belly on the water, in the water. The neoprene will turn me. Mm-hmm. So I have to taste a little bit of the lake. So it was pretty intense, let's say. So I have to take 10 showers till I get the stench off. But they were very. Andy Garcia said, "Oh, very good, Dennis. You look like you are dead." So that is with Mr. Garcia, and the most interesting thing that happened with when I was playing with Kevin Costner was what he said, and I told this story in Romania sometime in the interviews because it is very important. I said that's why he is there and we are here, and let me tell you why. So I was playing a bounty hunter that goes and meets Kevin Costner character, the Devil Ants. He was playing in Hatfields and McCoys. I was meeting him and I was trying to shot him, and of course his friends were killing us. I was the first, and two bounty hunters, two stunt guys in the back of me. So they killed us, and that was it. The end of my character in that movie. But I was. They were shooting the scenes with him, and then they turned the camera to me, and we stay in the same tent with Kevin, Mr. Kevin Reynolds, the director, Waterworld and such, all the things, wonderful things that he did, and with Kevin Costner. And I was staying with them to see what we done, in the on the monitor, So he said something, Dennis, you see, you played really, really good here. And I said, why? Because I have just 2 lines before you shoot me, No. You see, you put the rifle on the hand with the reins and look at me when I said, identify yourself, or whatever what I said in that moment. And the horse was in the some hill or something that was like a very slippery area with all the rocks and everything, and the horse was all the time moving under me. And he said, like, the horse was moving under you and you didn't take your eyes off me, because you are bounty hunter, you are professionally, I'm your prey. So that's why you played good. And none of the Romanian directors will observe that.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, that's why he's there and we are here. So,
well, you learn and you get better. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure all of the horseback archery and all the things you've done, you're not nervous on a horse. So the horse can do its thing and you can still remain.
Yeah. He didn't know that. He didn't know that I'm a good rider. He just noticed that, I played that character better.
Yeah. Well, that definitely, if you have the actor that's had 3 lessons and they have a horse sliding on rocks, their focus is not going to remain on the bad guy. They're going to lose their mind in that situation.
And, course. So. And they probably caught me off the movie.
Well, sorry about that. That happened.
Oh. Yeah, you don't want that,
Yeah.
Some of my colleagues in the movie business did receive this treatment. They got to the premiere and there were no footage of them. But I had 4 or 5 days of shooting. No, cut out. So that's not good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see you in more movies. I really hope things take back off for you. I think probably the state of the world. We didn't talk about that. So if you don't mind, tell us you have Ukraine in your backyard, basically where you are. So what's the state of the world where you're at? Is there supply issues? Is there fear, or is kind of life normal for y'all, or what?
No, it's normal shitty business like in America too. No, so everybody has this problem with economic crisis and everything, but the rest is normal. I mean, we work, we eat, we sleep. I mean, there is the first 2 months of the war was not so good because there were a lot of fears of what it will develop to be,
Yeah.
But now it's like it's not normal things. Some of the Ukrainians that came here to, we sheltered some Ukrainians. A big part of them, actually. Some of them just got back to Ukraine. So that means that things are getting better or safer for them. And but don't ask me about the outcome, because I don't know what the really situation is there, because you don't know what to believe from the media and stuff. Right. But of course the war is not good. Anyway you look at it, the war is not good, at least for normal people like us who don't buy or make guns, to sell. So
well, hopefully that gets resolved in the best way possible in short order, and the world kind of settles down for a little while.
At least this is the problem, because it's very close to Europe. It's at the gate of Europe. So so this is a very big concern for many people. For most of us, this is unheard of. You are used to heard about things in Africa, let's say, or whatever, in some other parts of or Middle East or whatever, but you are not used to have this type of problem at the border,
close by.
Yeah.
Well, say hopefully the world will settle down and we can focus more on important things like horses, right?
Yeah, let's hope so.
Absolutely. Well, Denis, I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a very enjoyable conversation for me. I know we'll keep in touch and everything, and if you ever do make it to this part of the world, be sure and let me know.
I will call.
Absolutely. It's, of course, the U.S. is big, but you could still be a long ways away and be in the U.S. But
yes. And let's hope that we see each other in person. We will find some way. That's interesting, because I have a student. I had a student in Romania that was American from Florida, and now because 1 year and a half began to ride with me in Romania, now he was buying a farm in North Carolina. And now he's raising there the horses and chickens and everything now. Okay. So it's weird. You come to Romania to learn how to ride and come back to the States to do the cowboy stuff, Well, so thank you very much for having me. And I'm looking forward to see the podcast, and I'm looking forward for all your work, because I saw that you are very busy guy in the States with the clinics and all. And I all the time when I talk to my students from the horse point of view, I mention your name with this type of the interesting tips and interesting explanation about all the bits. And I think this is one of the most valuable things that I find as a resource on the internet in the last 10 years.
I certainly appreciate that. That's very gracious of you. So we're trying to get the word out there with the stuff that I think is important. I know sometimes we focus too much on the tools with bits and all, but there's just certain basic understandings about that I think everybody should have, and it affects, like you say, the ripples. It affects everything.
Yeah, because it's and I can tell you for sure that even in Europe, even in Romania, many trainers don't know how to explain what the beat is doing. They know how to explain what their hands are doing. You have to flex the horse, you have to keep like this, but they don't know how to explain what the certain beat is doing. So that's why I said it is the paramount of,
Well, thank you. So Denis, you have movie experience with horses, and you've also got real world experience with horses, which makes you kind of unique, I would think, especially in Europe. So what are some of the differences between the things that you would want to do real world with a horse versus setting a horse up for a movie?
So it's kind of hard if you look from the competition point or the let's say the trainer who does all the competition or trains for the competition, the horses, and the showman who trains the horses for some shows or for the movies or certain kind of tricks that the horse can do in the circus and stuff. Because what we saw that, for example, they were very good riders, jumping and dressage, that were coming to the movie set to shoot some scenes where there were like 100 horses involved. So we are needing most of the horses that we can take our hands on, Mm-hmm. So there are some countrymen who comes with our cowboys, let's say, and some professional stuntmen with their horses, and some professional athletes with their horses, some professional riders. And the professional riders has the most difficulty in doing movie work, because you train in competition for certain kind of things. The horse have to move in this way, have to do this way, have to move into 20-meter circles, have to stay with the head in that position or something. In the movie, you don't have this problem. Most of the horses for the movie, maybe the director said, okay, you have to go in the right, in the left, you have to rear up the horse, you have to. So most of the horses for the movie, they are trained to do this kind of bad behavior, or let's say wild behavior, and maybe they are with the mouth open all the time, because we are pulling the bit more than we are supposed to do in the training situation or in normal training. But this is what the directors want, because the horse is scared or the horse has to appear. You cannot being, doing like
they don't want relaxed, they want dramatic,
with the head down, and the quarter horse almost almost flipping there and doing the sliding stuff. No, you have to be like a dragon on the horse. On the horse looks like a dragon. The horse has to look wild, has to look different. So you train the horses for the movie, and you cannot do with the horses for the movie the competition. They cannot do this, and vice versa. You cannot do with the horse from competition very good the movie. In general talk, of course, there are one or two exceptions or whatever, but mainly this is the main difference between the horse training for this. And another thing, in one scene that is 5 minutes away from this scene, the horse has to be, staying quietly, and the next scene has to be really wild, and the next scene has to be quietly. So either you have to use different horse with the same color, so you have the stand-in for the horses or the double horses, or you have the horse doing this on the spot, like a circus horse. So that's why one of the biggest stuntmen in Romania is also the circus performer. It's more than 60 years old now, so he's done 100 movie or so, and his horses, they are the best because they are circus horses, and they can perform and stay. So it's interesting.
I have to say, like, when I watch some movies, and especially when the horse has to display aggressive behaviors, like most of the time when I see tricks and stuff, I can, even if it's something I've never done, I can pretty quickly figure out how I would go about getting a horse to do that. But some of the aggressive behaviors, that has always perplexed me as to how you get a horse to act that out without actually turning them into dangerous animals, So
that's half true. I mean, half true in the sense that you'll have a real problem with that kind of horse. So my friend, who I told you, it's in the circus business for almost 50 years now, he told me the rearing, the horse in two legs, there is the easiest trick, but it's the last trick that you will teach the horse. When the horse is solid in the training, when you can trust the horse, you will teach this trick, because it's the most dangerous trick on the horse and near the horse. Near the horse can go and stamp you or whatever. And with the horse, if you don't know how to give because you have to give this type of cue, you have to give either by the hand or by the spur. And if you go by the spur, and the hand should be up and not pulling on the reins. If you're pulling on the reins, the horse will go back with you, and of course it is a very dangerous and usually ends in the hospital. And or if you want to stay there with the horse up, you have to know the cue for the horse rearing and staying up, and it's a cue with the hand again, and you have to jiggle it a little bit. The horse should be there.
Yeah.
But you teach this, and you teach with another trainer down with the whip, and told the trainer who's down, he's telling the horse to stay up with the whip. Stay up with the whip, and don't let the horse go down. And the horse knows, and that's not a problem. I actually have, I will send you the picture. I have a picture with this type of training from 15 years ago. I was preparing for another movie. It's called Gypsy Heart, and it's about the gypsy who also rode in the movie, of course. And my horse is like staying in one leg, and with the other legs very elevated. Is like a boxing match, And this is, everybody asks me how you did this, and I say I did this from here, but the other guy that you don't see did this from the ground. So there are many things behind the camera that you don't see, involving really good position of the horse, or really frightening position, or so.
Part of the art of cinema, huh? Just
and
show you exactly
of course,
what they want you to see, but you don't see everything they don't want you to see.
Yes. Now the problem is now it's gonna be mostly CGI. I mean, the last movie that I was making with 110 horses at the most was September 11 in that guy, the Siege of Vienna. September 11, 1683 was called the movie. It was a French-Italian production. It was in 2011. So it's more than 10 years ago. And from that point on, no more than 50 horses, 30 horses, 20 horses, the rest CGI. And the Lord of the Rings and all the great movies with the horses, they are 80% CGI. So that's a bummer.
Well, I can't imagine the logistics of being in charge of several hundred people and several hundred horses doing dangerous stuff. I don't think I would sleep very well at night knowing that I had that to deal with tomorrow. So I guess I see the attraction of CGI, but at the same time, you want to see a bunch of people playing on horses, right? So
yeah, and if you feel 100 horses going galloping, in the same time on the field, that's a pretty scary thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a real thing. 100 horses and with weapons on us, the spears were flying through the air. Some people could not hold the horse and the spear or the shield and stuff, and the shield was going like this, and my neighbor. So it was like a funny thing, but scary, because they are weapons.
Yeah, you have one person come off of their horse in the middle of that, and they've got a problem. Yeah, so
that happened.
I'm sure. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, thanks for coming on. I really have enjoyed it. It definitely was a fun conversation. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to play out and all, but I enjoyed talking with you a whole bunch. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
We'll see you next week for another episode of Adult Onset Horsemanship. I've been your host, Daniel Dolphin.